This year's race weekend, goodness. I bet most of you don't really know what happened late on the night of Friday, April 26th. How close we came to losing it all. Well, tonight, let's see how many people get this reference. As Paul Harvey used to say, you'll hear the rest of the story. Take your finger off of the send button. That's basically what Champaign Police Chief Timothy Tyler said to me when he called my cell phone at 10:31 that Friday. As I sat on the brink of full body weeping in the Race Operations Center, AKA ROC, on the 8th floor of Memorial Stadium. We were about to send out an email to all of our entrants telling them that the Saturday races were also canceled. How had we gotten to this point? After the sudden and shocking cancellation of the 5K late that afternoon, a mere 100 minutes before the 7:30 start time, because the 30 police officers that we had contracted with to secure our 5K route were no longer available due to the impact of the protests on campus. The protest site was actually adjacent to the race route. We turned down, which street is it? 6th? Where's my ROC team? 6th, exactly. They were at the alma mater. Our race operations staff, so that's Bob, that's Bryant, that's Jason, that's Danielle, that's Bridget, that's Scott Leone. They're the Navy SEALs of my team, for sure. They decamped to ROC, still hopeful that Saturday's races, they could happen. The number of officers we needed for Saturday was 67. We thought, surely things will be cleaned up. We'll be able to run. But as the evening wore on, the protest was still active, and the prospect for Saturday grew dimmer and dimmer. The fact that the protest site was actually now on the course was even a greater complication. The impact of the protest was claiming more and more of the officers and public works staff that we needed to secure our event on Saturday. Every time Bob or Bryant's phone rang, it was more bad news. Agency after agency were telling us they weren't available. But the dogged ROC team, they strategized every which way, hoping that one of their plans would work. Let's change the route, have everybody do the half. Every idea was on the table for consideration. But it was getting late. We had promised our entrants that we would send them an update by 9 p.m. The best we could do at 9:22 was to send out an email letting them know, we'll let you know by 5 a.m. tomorrow morning if the races were a go or not. Many, maybe most, of our entrants went to bed on Friday night not knowing if when they woke up on Saturday morning, they would be running a marathon, a half marathon, a 10K. Not exactly the best pre-race strategy, right? And then we were out of time and out of options. When the dust had settled, half of the offices we needed were gone. It was over. There was no saving our Saturday races. I remember turning to Jason in tears saying, "Hey, buddy, we probably don't have a job tomorrow." So there we were up in ROC, numb. The cancellation email, I'm telling you, it was written, it was loaded, and our hand was on the send button. And that's when my phone rang at 10:31. It was again Champaign Police Chief Timothy Tyler. He said, "Give me 10 more minutes. Take your hand off that send button." I can't remember if it was Bob or Bryant, but one of them said, "But Chief, we've already canceled some of the cops that are coming from out of town." Chief Tyler repeated, "Give me a little more time." What we didn't know then, but we know now, is that while we and the staff were up in ROC trying to come up with a plan to save Saturday, Chief Tyler was working in the background on our behalf with his own plan. Now, prior to becoming the Champaign Police Chief in January of 2022, Tyler spent 23 years as an Illinois State police officer. Time to call some favors back. He called on our behalf to the Illinois State Police Director, Brendan Kelly, who called Governor Pritzker. When Chief Tyler called back on my cell phone, as promised, 10 minutes later, Brendan Kelly was on the phone with him. They said, "So how many Illinois State police officers do you need for tomorrow morning to have your race?" I thought Bob and Bryant's heads were going to explode. Bryant said, "What?" More like WTF. Chief said, "I said, how many Illinois State police officers do you need to have your race tomorrow?" We all looked at Bob, who's not here tonight. It's his 30th wedding anniversary. He had the unfortunate task of doing all the police officer number crunching in reverse all night. He looked at all of us and he croaked out, 30? Chief said, "Okay, you've got it." I honestly can't remember what happened next. All I know is that we suddenly had new life. What a powerful reflection we received in that moment. Friends in high places we didn't know we had were not going to let our race die. They recognized that our Christi Clinic Illinois Race Weekend is a powerful force for good in our community, in the state of Illinois, in the Midwest, maybe even in the country. An event that transforms lives. It was worth saving. And let me be clear. If we had canceled our event on Saturday, April 27th, we're not here tonight. We don't survive the financial implications of that. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't also include the fact that Champaign County State's Attorney Julia Reitz, who is here tonight, a longtime friend of Brendan Kelly and Bryant Serafin and our race, she's a SAG driver with her husband Al, thank you very much. She was also working the room and her phone on our behalf that night from her location in the sit room where the U of I leaders and law enforcement were huddled to deal with the situation with the protest. So at 11:36, we sent the good news email out to our entrance titled, "All systems go for races tomorrow." Happily, some of those entrants got the message before they drifted off to sleep, but many woke up to the news. Our participants had no idea how we pulled it off. They might not have even cared. All that mattered to them was that they were going to be able to run their race. Now, after race week, and we of course wanted to thank and show our extreme gratitude to Chief Tyler, Illinois State Police Head Brendan Kelly, and Governor Pritzker, to thank them. So I came up with this idea for a gift. Some of you know this looks like our race poster, but it was an oversized thank you card. This is Chief Tyler's card. There was one that looked just like it with each of the other two men's names. We shared with our runners that these three individuals were the ones who moved mountains so that we could have our race on April 27th. We invited them to submit notes of thanks through a Google form, and we promised we will send them with the gifts. We received so many comments. I still cry when I read them. I'm going to read you one tonight, and I hope I can get it out. It's one of my favorites. I'm almost in tears as I type this and think about that day and what it meant to me. I went to bed the night before, not knowing if the race would be on, but too focused on getting a good night's sleep to be bothered. To be able to run the marathon is something that I will be forever grateful for. It's not just the training that people do to prepare, it's also the sacrifice, giving up time with family and friends, basically every weekend leading up to race weekend, and countless hours outside of that. I wasn't sure if I could even do it, even with the training. And I did it. I crossed the finish line, and I cannot tell you what it means to me. In August 2016, on that very college campus, I wrote a list of what I wanted in my life. The first thing on my list, run a marathon. Thank you for helping me 8 years later as a 29-year-old for making that goal a reality that day. My favorite part of the thank you card is the tagline at the bottom of the card. Tyler to Kelly to Pritzker for the save. Now, as we got the last of our racers off the start line on Saturday morning, I believed, and I repeat, I believed that the biggest save of the race weekend had taken place. But I was wrong. And to tell us more about that, please welcome to the stage Dr. Raphael Ruggeri.